Okay, welcome back, everyone. And it's good to see you here. And we've got an interesting day today because it's not just me. As you know, the theme of Unity for this year is how to stay centered no matter what. Well, that's a big challenge, isn't it? No matter what, because we're all being tested at the moment. But we know that we are helped because we've got the knowledge of the 12 powers, which is one of Unity's gift to the world. And we've been studying these 12 powers every month over the last year or so, or 2 years really. And it's been good to see how we're being applying them. Now, we want to believe the same, we won't always believe the same things as other people. All of us are at different stages of our spiritual unfoldment. And that's where we're meant to be. But as Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, said, I reserve the right to change my mind. And my goodness, how many times have I changed my mind over the last 40 years? When I look back at some of the groups I've been in, some of the things I've studied, some have been amazing. They were good for the time, though. There was lessons to be learned in each of those different areas of my life. I chose to attend with groups, churches, spiritual groups, and other groups. It's all been part of the journey. So we'll consciously become aware more and more as we express more of spirit, and we'll continue changing our minds. But I'd like to introduce today 3 special people. And before I do, wasn't that a great talk with Reverend Phyllis when she said, meet my friend Will? Well, today I've decided to call this topic 3 Friends of Will. And the first one, someone you know pretty well, she's on our committee, and we're going to ask her how she's being stayed connected, no matter what. Glenda, welcome along.
Hi, thank you for that. Okay, well, you said to me, how have you stayed centered during this challenging time? So I keep a daily journal, and I looked back over my journal to see how exactly have I been staying centered. And the answer is my morning practice has kept me centered. So every morning without fail, I sit down with my journal and my Bible and my hot drink, and I randomly open at a page. Most of the time I'm given a page number. And the fact that every morning spirit keeps me centered is really how I have kept centered. My small self has done things like make soup, make vegetarian meals, exercise, build a fantastic relationship with my mother, things like that. But my spirit self has been knocking itself out, trying to let me know that I am the center. Now, I'm going to come out of the closet today, which is going to interest a lot of people.
Ooh.
And the way I'm going to come out of the closet, now you're all frightened, the way I'm going to come out is this. I actually have a food addiction. I love my food way and above what's normal. Now, when people look at me, they think she's too skinny. She can't possibly, that cannot possibly be an issue with her, but it is. And so the whole time that COVID has been going on, I have been trying with Spirit's repeated help to fight my food addiction. I'm not there yet. It's a long way to metabolism. I have a very fast metabolism, and about every 2 hours, I am hungry, despite the fact that I love my food. And so this is a bit of an uphill battle. I was also told that I'm a repeat mastery, which means in my last life, I nearly attained mastery but missed out. So in this life, I have chosen this pathway of addiction to master. And this is going to lead me to not have to come back in my next life. But until I do it, I cannot pass the test. We've all got to master something in this life. We've all got some type of wound, some type of thing that we will not give up. And this is what keeps us from fully attaining our Christhood. Now, if you want to know what your thing is, I bet you anything you like, it's in your mind right now because I've brought it up. It is the thing that you won't give up, that you can't give up. And I have a suspicion that COVID is an attempt for us all to do a collective mastery on fear. So this is just my opinion. Now, the way that I've tried to remain centered is I want to eat. Okay, I can meditate. I can talk with God, myself, my higher self. I can do all of that. But the main thing that I'm here to do is to be a minister and help others find their God selves. And I cannot do that until I have mastered myself. So what is your thing that you don't want to give up? Whatever it is, it's keeping you. It's keeping you from attaining Christhood. And when I look at COVID and I think to myself, is this a collective way for us all, okay, to attain mastery? We can do it by walking in the forest and listening to music and meditation. But the main thing we have to do is to lose our addiction to fear. Now, Greg Braden actually has the answer to this. And the answer is intention circles. He's proven, along with Lynn McTaggart, that a group of people can affect a majority of people. It takes only the square root of 1% of that thing or group or person to affect a group of others. For instance, we've got 23 paid up members. And if you do that square root thing, we can, by sitting together, affect 2,300 other people for good, or to help them lose their fear by focusing on love. At the moment, we've got 28 people online watching this Zoom. If we just sat here and thought about love, we could affect 2,800 other people. Melbourne has got 5,071,000 people in it. It would take 50,714 people to affect change for good if we all got together and just thought about love. So while I've been trying to affect and master myself, could we all sit together at some point and just focus on sending love to all the leaders and all the people that need to change? And while you're doing it, please send some to me and my food addiction. So that's how I've been keeping it together, through spirit.
Wow. Thank you, Glenda. And that's a great idea. And well, we've got the Unity Worldwide Day of Prayer, which is going to be very, very powerful, coming up in a fortnight. And we'll be having some information about that. And my goodness, food for thought there. And we'll continue now with more Friends of Will. And it's licensed Unity teacher, Leslie. Leslie, welcome along. If you unmute, that's it.
Yeah. I'm a bit scared. I feel like running away because I thought I was talking about how I've used will in my life, but that was amazing, Glenda, and so inspirational. So I've been a bit tedious and I've just tracked how I've used will in education. So I hope you don't sack me, Bill. So I loved what Phyllis said about her friend Will, and Will works with understanding and wisdom and love to help us make life enhancing choices. And my chosen example of how I've used Will is my perpetual seeking for education, or to put it more poetically, in the getting of wisdom. Wow. And step one, when I needed Will, was when after year 11 at school, Williamstown High School didn't have year 12. And rather than get a job, which my mum wanted me to do, I worked all through the school holidays as a waitress at Karami Guest House in Marysville in order to buy the books and a green uniform instead of a navy uniform to go to to University High School. And there were only 3 girls and 15 boys who went on. And my best friend said, "I always knew you'd do that. You're the type." And I just felt the pain of that so much. But Will kept me hanging in. Then I went to nursing at the Alfred Hospital, and I sure needed Will to keep going with that. It was physically and mentally exhausting. And looking back, wisdom and love were also strongly drawn upon, because we were making the most astounding choices, 19, 20, 21, about patients' life and death. I could write a book about that, and it wouldn't be legal nowadays. But yeah, Will held me in. When my son started kinder, I went off to night school and did European history, and I really enjoyed it. But looking back, I realised my husband really didn't approve of it at all. But 2 others and with me decided to go on to Monash University the following year. And because of my results from that subject, plus my previous results at Uni High, I got in. And wow, did I need Will. The chaos that caused in the Dandenong Methodist community, again, I could write a book about it. And with my in-laws, it would have been okay for me to be playing midweek ladies tennis or continuing with part-time nursing, but to go to uni, being a mature age student was very unique in those days. And I don't know how I kept that will going to do that. But I did part-time first year and at the same time worked 12-hour days at the doctor's surgery I used to work at, from 9 in the morning till 9 at night on Saturdays. And then I went full-time for years 2 and 3 and worked in casualty at Dandenong Hospital in the uni holidays. So sure needed my friend Will to hang in there. I did dip ed at Deakin, and Will was mighty powerfully needed then because I had a marriage breakup. But what I learnt at that time was that I could let go and let friends support me. And a good friend took me and my kids away, and she looked after the kids while I finished my essays. And I got through by the skin of my teeth, but I did survive dip ed. I got a job teaching, and that was a cinch compared to nursing. So I kept going with my education and did a master's. And then I don't know, well, I do know because of my archetype, but I'll mention that in a minute. I kept going with study. I did trauma counselling, relationship therapy, family therapy, hypnosis, blah, 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 kept it going. And because of those qualifications, I was able to get a better paid job as a rehab counsellor and changed completely from teaching to rehab counselling. And while I was doing that, I did what was probably one of the hardest courses of my life, and that was somatic psychotherapy, where you not only did theory, you worked on your own stuff as well. And I sure needed Will again to get through that. But with that extra qualification, I was given a license to set up my own rehab practice. And once again, that was mighty stressful stuff, and Will was needed to hang in, but it worked very, very well financially. I retired from work, and you would think I would have read whodunits. I do read whodunits as well, but I did the training to run the cancer support groups for the Gawler Foundation, and they were run at the Unity Sanctuary. And the rest is history, really. Unity suited me to a T. I loved the reading and the classes. I loved Sylvia's classes in the manse on Monday mornings, and sitting round the table with Janet in the manse, reading the books, and there were no intensive in. So for some reason, I just kept plodding on and did become an LUT. And there was no will required. I just loved doing the reading, excepting when I went to Hawaii, and my goodness, all those Americans were so articulate, and I said to Margie, you know, I don't have to learn how to speak publicly because I want to major in chaplaincy, and she just thought that was hysterically funny because I had to, my first class, I had to speak in front of these incredibly, you know, outgoing people. Anyway, I survived and I became an LUT. So all of this is just to illustrate how I have this archetype of the student. I've been supported through it all by Will and Jim to carry out what Carolyn Mace would call my sacred contract with my innate student archetype. She says the student archetype suggests a pattern of constant learning, an openness to absorbing new information as an essential part of one's being. A student archetype suggests an absence of mastery of any one subject, and that sure is me, but rather a continual pursuit of development. Within the spiritual aspect, the student or disciple implies that one has found a source of teaching, such as a guru, and that becomes the instructor and spiritual guide. And for me, obviously, Unity is my guru. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Leslie. Whoa, that was very inspiring. Thank you. Oh, wow. You've been around, haven't you? I think we all have. Anyway, it's time to introduce Lorraine now. As you know, Lorraine is our president, and I thought it's about time we heard what she's up to. Welcome along, Lorraine.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Bill, for the opportunity. So when Bill actually rang me, and he said, you're happy to talk about will, and I said about how I've used will or as in my life in the journey through Unity over the last 30 years. Well, there are many instances, but I'm going to keep this a fairly short one and provide just one illustration. I'll keep it simple because I like simple. So when I accepted the current position that I am in, the travel to work was a 30-minute drive door to door. And one of the reasons I accepted it was because it was the convenience of travel, and also the manager that recruited me, I had worked with before, and we had a very good relationship. So after a while settling into the job and traveling, Everything was good, really enjoyed the job, loved the people I work with. They are great employers to work for. But as the years went on, the travel time started to add up from 30 to 35 to 40 to 45. And it was starting to become a little bit more than I was enjoying the travel. So as time went on, it was clocking up to close to an hour each way to work and back. And it was starting to get the better of me because I didn't enjoy the drive. So it came to a point when, even though I loved the job and the work I do and the people I work with, I felt that working closer to home was what I really wanted. And that was the goal that I wanted to achieve, where I could be maybe 15 or 20 minutes from home would be ideal situation. So as I started to think about that, and from where I live, and I know in the area well, I had lived in the area for a while, and I started to think about 15 to 20 minutes and the radius and what the possibilities could be. I was grappling with a lot of questions as to mainly how would this happen, because I really couldn't see how. Thinking about the area, the type of businesses, and what would be available. So this went on, and as I kept thinking more about it, and the travel time of the hour, and occasionally it would go even above an hour to an hour and 10 or 15 if it was a bad day. So one day I was driving, and it was one of those days when I think I copped every single traffic light and rail crossing on the way to work. So I actually started to count. And by the time I got to work, I had counted 47 traffic lights.
Ooh.
So I thought, this is really getting past a point where I'm really enjoying the drive, even though I get to work and I enjoy the work. So thinking about how was really what was causing me the angst, was because I couldn't see the solution as to where I was going to find something closer to home, because I'd had to polish up my resume, start looking for jobs, start applying for jobs which I hadn't done for maybe 10 years. So after grappling with this for nearly 2 years, it came to a point where I had to choose. So as Diane said, the chooser, I had to be willing to let go of all the questions and doubts that I had as to how this was going to work. And I had to embrace my faculty of faith, and with faith and will, trust spirit, that spirit would provide the answer and show the way as to how this would manifest in my life. So after a while of accepting that I had to have implicit faith and use my willpower to stop the chatter and the noise that was going on in my head, it took a little while and a lot of willpower to do that. And after a couple of, I'd say maybe close to 2 years, it did manifest with me not having to do anything other than to let go, because the business I work for, the company I worked for, acquired another business of the same size, and we couldn't bring both businesses together in the same premises. So they decided they needed to move to new premises. And it took them a few months to sort that out. And they eventually found something which happens to be 10 minutes from where I live. So brand new building, purpose built to suit us. And within 6 to 12 months of the two businesses coming together, we moved into a new purpose built office in which is 10 minutes, it's 4 kilometers. So I'm even within the 5 kilometer lockdown. So, and while this is pre-COVID and during COVID, while a lot of us have been working from home, my role, I can do 50% of my role at home, and the rest of it I have to go into the office. So it did give me the answers I was looking for without me really having to go and look for a job or go to interviews. I think it is the will and the patience and understanding, and also an implicit faith that spirit would come through and give and provide me the outcome that I really wanted. So that's really one of many instances where I have used will with love. And also faith is a big part for me, is a big faculty that I use very often to go to I guess achieve what I really want to achieve in life. And the unity teachings over the last 30 years has kept me in very good stead. And even in times like now where we have got many challenges that we are facing. So that's a very short version of 30 years of doing unity, studying unity principles.
Wow. Thank you, Lorraine. That was amazing. What a journey. And it's great to have different people on from time to time, just to see how we're all fellow travelers on the path, and we're all at different spots and at different areas, and we can see how these powers are working in our lives, and they're demonstrated in our lives where we are right now. And hopefully there's been some inspiration for us all there to continue on our journey using these powers and whatever else, and putting them into expression, not just thinking about them, but the hard part is actually putting them into expression. Thank you to our 3 friends of will today. And let's have a song.